Alright, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and good day to Mr. Mahadi, our lecturer. So today we are going to do the task 2 or presentation for subject the SLB 3103 second language acquisition. And in the group members we have me, Jamalina and then
Lim Sheng Yong.
alright. Okay, next slide. Okay, this is the table of content of what we are going to present today. So first, we are going to look at the overview of our whole presentation, and then we will go with the analysis of the original lesson plan, and then we will look at the revised lesson plan that we have done.
Okay. This is me, Lim Sheng Yong. Okay, and I'm going to present the overview, the interaction hypothesis, and noticing hypothesis.
Okay, and then I will present the interaction effective filter hypothesis and the input hypothesis.
Oh,
And this is mine. Alright, okay, this is the overview of the original lesson plan. As you can see, the lesson plan is for 11 years old student which is year 5, and then the level of proficiency in the classroom is intermediate or mixed ability. And then for the lesson plan, the topic that we focus on is the sport, or especially Malaysian traditional sport. And for the main skill is reading, and then there is two learning objective for this original lesson plan, which is by the end of the lesson, pupils should be able to one, understand specific information and details by answering questions through interactive board game with 80% accuracy. And then number two, categorizes statements based on its category with 80% accuracy. And then as you can see at the side is the overall of the
overview of the lesson.
yes, overview of the lesson plans. All right. Next.
Now, the overview of the lesson plan. This presentation uses one of the lesson plans used during practicum by one of us. The original lesson plan is for year 5 students. With this as the base, we will use the original lesson plan to analyze and present the theories applied by the teacher students during practicum. Now, the overview of the 4 theories. Interaction hypothesis by Michael Long is a theory that the environment contributes to the development of second language acquisition. The second one is Krashen's affective filter, a theory that language learners might be distracted by emotional factors in the language learning process. The noticing hypothesis by Richard Smith, a theory within second language acquisition that a learner cannot continue advancing their language abilities or grasp linguistic features unless they consciously notice the input. And the fourth, Krashen's input hypothesis, a theory where language learners progress in their knowledge of the language when they comprehend language input that's slightly more advanced than the current level.
All right. Now we look to the analysis of theories. First, let's go with Sheng Yong.
Interaction hypothesis by Michael Long. Now, the principles of said theory is that it states that is promoted face-to-face interaction and communication. Now, conventional tactics for non-native speakers are repetition, confirmation checks, comprehension checks, or clarification requests. You all know when you were younger, right? You all had to sit down and then learn how to read, and then you had to keep on repeating, right? Yeah, that is one of the ways that you learn the second language. Now we come into something a bit different: negotiation of meaning. It occurs when there's a breakdown of communication, which interlocutors attempt to overcome. One person in a conversation will say something that the other doesn't understand. The person will then use very communicative strategies to help the interaction progress. Usually we use hand signals, we use pictures, or worst comes to worst, we use one of the various translation software in today's time, like Google Translate.
Yes.
Now, the learning may take place during the interaction too. Now, as for the analysis of the lesson plan, particularly using conventional tactics, the teachers gain the students' attention by playing a hangman game. The students are required to guess the name of the traditional sport by guessing to the alphabet by alphabets. Teachers assist the students by giving hints. Now, students will interact with the teacher for confirmation and clarification checks. Now, repetition occurs when students repeat the information received. In this stage, it will involve repetition, confirmation checks, and clarification checks. In this case, it asking, "Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure this is the correct word? Are you sure? Okay. If you are not sure, if you are sure, and then if the student get it wrong, they're good. They get one line. They get one line to the hangman dying. Now, then after that, this method is also used in the pre-reading stage.
Yes.
The teachers ask the students to brainstorm the idea and prior knowledge of the students regarding the picture cards of Malaysian traditional sports shown by the teacher. This stage involves a lot of communication. In this case, the teacher is giving the input to the class. Giving them input, and the students have to give the output. In this case, in this case, the repetition and confirmation checks are based on the picture cards. What is this? What's this? What's this? What's this?
Yes. Then,
And it will also involve the negotiation of meaning. In this case, the teacher uses communicative strategies. So in this case, she will speak more slowly and
yes.
explain in more detail. Meanwhile, the students, if they don't understand, can request
Okay.
clarification to convey the meaning of the words and the sentences. Now, negotiation of meaning. We are covering this now. Based on the lesson plan, all of the stages involve the negotiation of meaning. Students always use to get hints and answers. In this case, you are supposed to as a teacher, you are supposed to lay down the hints for the students to connect. And students will be able to know how to do the task through and answer the questions. In this case, it promotes language acquisition because the students, they are interacting, and in interacting they will learn the language and pick it up because they can act within the period. And this is also a good idea. It also promotes a healthy collaborative and student-centered culture because students will want to go and talk to their classmates and to practice their language.
Yes. Right.
And in, tur- and in turn, the instructor, or in this case, teacher, for assistance. They will look to each other for help and assistance, thus making the classroom more interactive. You can talk to here, you can talk there.
Yes, okay, wait. Okay, so because of this explanation, because in many stages, especially the set induction and the pre-reading stage, we decided do not want to improvise the lesson plan because we think that this theory is already implemented and good enough in the original lesson plan. Okay, right, all right. The second theory that we have identified that have been used by the teachers in the lesson plan is the Crescent's effective filter. All right. Okay. According to Cashin, a variety of effective variables related to success in second language acquisition. There are three variables, which is the first one is the motivation, where the performers with high motivation will generally do better in second language acquisitions because they have the motivation to learn, to study the second language. And then the second variables is the self-confidence. Performers, which is the students, with self-confidence and a good self-image tend to do better in second language acquisitions because they have the confidence to talk, to speak, and to share their ideas. And then the third variable is the anxiety, which is low anxiety appears to be conducive to second language acquisition, whether measured as personal or classroom anxiety. Okay, let's go to the analysis that we have done based on the original lesson plan. All right, based on this lesson plan, then we also have highlighted the parts where that we focus on, and then based on the lesson plan, the activity in the pre-reading stages is well prepared as it promotes the elements of critical thinking as the pupils were asked questions and also brainstorming the idea of the topic for further information and details. Okay, however, this activity is a two teacher-centered, teacher-led discussion because it may not be effective for the students and to promote language acquisition as the pupils will show symptoms of high affective filter such as boredom behavior, anxiety, trouble following, will not be able to answer the questions because they think that some of the students may not know what to speak, what the idea, information about the sports introduced by the teacher. Hence, they will show the symptoms of high effective filter, as I mentioned just now. And then, according to the FUBA and FRAG 2000, they remark that teacher-centered learning can be described as students passively receive information and there is no room for students' personal growth. So the students will not have any growth, will not less contribute in the discussions because teacher lead the discussion. All right. Okay. In the pre-reading stage, we have decided to improvise, which is on the three main things, which is the collaborative learning, where it involves pupils working together to achieve a common objective in the learning process that we have planned, and then it also student-centered approach that emphasize on the students' active participations, communication, and collaborative among the pupils. And then the second element, which is group activity, teacher can divide the students into groups so that they can brainstorm the ideas about traditional sports together. And this also can help to decrease the stress and anxiety level of the students as they can communicate with each other and work together to share ideas and perspectives of the traditional sports that they are learning. And then the third element, which is supportive environment, um, by working in a group, it can help the students to feel comfortable sharing their ideas, asking questions, sharing their opinions, as they can learn from each other and build confidence in their own abilities. And then it also promotes critical thinking and problem solving skills as it allow the pupils to have discussion among them. All right. This is the improvised lesson plan that we have done. Instead of the pupils just doing the activity alone, sorry, I mean the together as a whole class. Instead, the teacher should divide the pupils into groups of four, and then each of the group have to create a jam board and then brainstorm their ideas there. They have to write on their own, and then teacher in this case, teacher will aid the students to answer the questions. All right. That is our improvised lesson plan for this theory. All right. Next, Chanya.
Now, now, the noticing hypothesis. People learn about things they attend to and do not learn much from the things they do not attend to. We all saw this, right? Now tell me, what is your favorite anime? Then after that I go ask you what is the times table? I'm sure some of you can't remember that. I'm sure if you ask the students the first question, what's your favorite anime, they will tell you all about it. Particularly if you ask about football also. But you go into mathematics or science, they will just be staring. They will just be staring at you because they can't remember. Now, in this case, at the pre-reading stage, pictures of traditional sports are able to are able to attract the people's interest in acquiring the target language. Feedback explanation involves implicit learning among the pupils. As you can see here, the- as you can see here, these are the four flashcards or the four spots. Now, the teacher then asks questions about the pictures. Then the pupils respond. Then the teacher brainstorm the ideas. Then they write it on the Google Jamboard. In in this case, every line the teacher say, the student talk about, the teacher write it down.
Okay, next.
By the while reading stage,
This is the overview of the while reading stage, the activity, the lesson plan, and the activity.
mhm. And then in our opinion, this stage is good and suitable for the students. It contains a lot of inputs, such as new knowledge of the words for the students. This activity, which is reading cards and board games, is interesting enough to attract the students' attention and help the student gain new knowledge. Now, Krashen's input hypothesis.
All right. Okay, thank you, Sheng. So now I'm going to explain the four theories that we have identified and analyzed in the original lesson plan. Okay, and the input hypothesis is Krashen's attempt to explain how the learners acquires the second language, which is how the second language take place. Okay, the input hypothesis is only concerned with the acquisition, not the learning. And according to this hypothesis, the learner improves and progresses along the natural order when he or she receives second language input that is one step beyond his or her current stage of linguistic competence. For example, if the learner is at the stage I, then acquisition will take place when he or she is exposed to the comprehensible input that belongs to the level which is known as I plus 1, which is it will go beyond the level, the current level of the learner. Okay, now this is the analysis that we have analyzed in the original lesson plan. So according to the original lesson plan, the activity which is we will focus on the post reading stage, which is drag and drop game. It requires the learners to memorize and understand the whole lesson plan that they have gained in the earlier stages. Uh, in our opinion, this activity is good to test the learners' understanding on the topic and see whether the students are able to do the exercise related to the Malaysian traditional sports learned earlier, besides promoting fun learning using Google Jamboard. However, we found out that this activity is too simple since it does not really triggers the learner's prior knowledge and the new knowledge that they have gained in the lesson earlier. So the activity in the post-reading activity must adhere to the I plus one level to know whether the students understand or not, or they able to do something more than what they have learned today, just not that in that circle only. So at the side, here is the improvised lesson plan that we have done. Sorry for the typo. Okay, for the lesson plan, I will explain about the lesson plan that we have improvised. Instead of doing the drag and drop game in the Google Jamboard, we have decided to change the activity to think, pair, share activity, where the teacher will ask the students to be in pairs, and the pupils have to choose one of the Malaysian traditional sport that they know, um, except for the one that they have learned earlier, the four one that they have learned earlier. So they have choose another one that they know about Malaysian traditional sport, and then they have to in pairs they have to discuss about the Malaysian traditional sports, and then they have to brainstorm the ideas that they have discussed in the Google Jamboard. After that, they have to tell the whole class and share and explain about the traditional sport, the Malaysian traditional sport chosen. For example, they can brainstorm ideas on the number of the players, the equipments, and rules. There are many more Malaysian traditional sports that the teacher that the original plan doesn't discuss. So the students have to think out of the box, have to go beyond their current level instead of just the same activity, just drag and drop from the earlier information. So instead, they have go beyond their current stage and then think about the other Malaysian traditional sport that they know and then discuss and share. And that is what the improvised lesson plan that we have think about, that we have changed according to this questions input hypothesis theory. Okay, next, Shayong, let's go to the conclusion.
In the conclusion, in our own words, this is how the theories were applied in the usage of the original lesson plan. The applications and analysis of the theories used in the lesson are thus complete. Thank you.
Before that, this is our the
The
references.
references.
Yes,
The
that is
references
all
that we use during the
during the
reference
analysis of
the
the lesson
analysis.
plan.
Mhm.
Yes, that is all from us. Thank
Thank
you.
you. And stop.